How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today, is Colorado right for you? Let's compare Colorado to some other states, starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Evertson. Listen, if you're interested in learning all the ins and outs, pros and cons to moving to or around Denver, Colorado, then this is the channel for you. So make sure to click that subscribe and notification button popping up on your screen below as I'm dropping new videos for you each and every week. And listen, as much as I try to get a little creative here on camera, I'm also a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado and team with some of Denver's most talented realtors. And we're helping people move here each and every day. So the number and email on your screen, know that I am always the person answering your phone calls, answering your texts, answering your emails, there when and if you need me. Now that we're done with that fun-filled stuff, let's get to what we're here for, and that is Colorado right for you? And how can we compare it to some other states? So some general overall basics of Colorado that may or may not matter. Colorado, from a landmass standpoint, 8th biggest state in all of the country. That's pretty exciting. And unfortunately, that 8th largest landmass is, as you might have noticed on a map, located pretty much right in the center, or at least towards the center of the United States. And so within that, one, we're quite a long ways away from a beach, and two, along with that 8th largest landmass, they didn't give us a lot of water in it. So if you're a big water person, I'm just gonna throw that out there. You don't have to keep zooming in on your Google map. The water just is not there. So good things on Colorado's front. According to US News, Colorado ranks 10th as far as health. We rank 5th as far as education. We rank 2nd as far as economy. That's solid. And overall, we rank 10th out of 50 states, just for overall, wonderfulness. But there also has to be drawbacks. So interesting in this is that Colorado ranked 41st for opportunity. It ranked 45th on fiscal stability, which is now my current research topic. And it ranked 41st as far as crime and corrections. I mean, you can't have everything, right? Now, we know obvious things about Colorado, or at least if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you're aware of the fact that we are home to at least a large portion of the Rocky Mountains. And within those beautiful mountains are some of the nation's, if not the world's, most desired ski areas. Vail, Aspen, Telluride, which is one of the coolest towns you will ever see in your life. Breckenridge. So we are pretty spoiled in that regard that we can leave, if you're here around the Denver metro area, you can leave and be to any of these ski resorts in some as little as an hour and a half to, some being 2, 3, maybe 4 hours away. Now, here's something that kind of surprises me. I don't know if it should surprise me, but a lot of people are not aware of how flat eastern Colorado is. So if you get to Denver, and a lot of you have probably seen an image of Denver in which it's Denver and then the mountains right behind it. But if you just turned that around and took a picture of Denver going the other way, there would be nothing behind it, because eastern Colorado truly resembles Kansas and Nebraska a lot. In that way, John Denver really was full of shit, man. And when I say that it's an extension of Nebraska and Kansas, I don't apologize for that. So from a cost of living standpoint, Colorado rated 34th overall by payscale.com. Now, you need to understand that Colorado was ranked 34th, and Denver, if you are looking at the Denver metro area, that tends to rate a lot higher than the Colorado average as far as expense. So you've got a relatively expensive state, more expensive than more than half the nation, and Denver being more expensive than that. And within Colorado, if you're not looking at Denver, you need to be aware, again, this might be a good thing for you or a bad thing for you, but Colorado is not home to a lot of big cities. So you have Denver, which has a population of 750,000 roughly. Right next to Denver, connected to Denver, is Aurora, our third largest city, and it has a population of 404,000. So obviously between the two, you've got over 1.1 million people. But other than that, you have Colorado Springs, which is located roughly 2 hours south of us, with no traffic, maybe an hour and a half, but 2 hours south of us. And Colorado Springs has a population of 497,000 people. But other than those three, Denver, Colorado Springs, and Aurora, there is not another city or town in Denver that has more than 200,000 people living in it. In fact, there isn't another town with more than 180,000 people in it. Now, big pros for us, we are a very health conscious statewide. I think you see a lot of people outdoors getting after it, a lot of hiking, a lot of biking, camping, fishing, obviously skiing, snowboarding, things of that nature. Colorado, Denver, most areas rate very high in not just health rankings, but also health cost rankings. And I mentioned we are very outdoorsy people by and large, and Colorado just brings that out of you. We talk about how much sunshine we get. You'll hear the number 300 tossed around a lot. That's not exactly accurate. That's basically any day where you get 2 seconds of sunshine, but you'll get 250 days plus of actual clear sky sunshine. It makes you want to get outside, makes you want to do things. And because Colorado has this balance of trails and camping and getting up to the mountains, we have year-round activities. I mean, you might go to the mountains to ski and snowboard, and then you get up to the mountains because you want to ride your mountain bike and you want to go on hikes. So always out and about, always getting into new things. Now on the con side, population growth. We talk about there not being, a lot of big cities, but population growth has been a challenge here. Denver, as an example, over the last 10 years saw a 20% increase in its population. So you saw cost of living increase. You saw cost of housing increase. One of our other cons that led to was more traffic. Now, if you're coming from a Los Angeles, a Seattle, Miami, you might not even blink at the traffic here. But for people who have lived here or people who have come from areas where traffic is not that big, it's pretty constant. You're never just going from point A to point B. There's always just a bit of a slowdown. It's never a drastic just stop altogether, but there's a lot of hindrances through that. And because of Denver's infrastructure, its roads, really, there's not a lot of expansion that they can do with these roads. This is a traffic issue that's not going away, and it's certainly not going to get better. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, not a lot of water here. So when we talk about weather, you do get some harsh winters. By and large, not terrible. This winter, I'm making this video in February, this winter has sucked. A lot of snow, a lot of cold, but for the most part, our winters are mild. But weather, we do get some random harsh weather storms, big snow, very cold, and also extremely, extremely dry. The type of weather in which all of a sudden your hands start cracking, your feet start cracking. You're drinking a ton of water and there's a lot of need for lotion. So in this, I talked about comparing it to other states, and so I wanted to compare it to a few different regions for what I hear. So when we talk about cost of living, cost of housing, where you're gonna see a lot of stunned faces are people coming from the South. Again, your Alabamas, your Arkansas, your Louisianas, your Tennessees. Coming to Denver, odds are it's gonna be more expensive for you, especially housing. Our housing tends to be far higher than these regions. Same thing for the majority of the Midwest. Your Ohio's, Pennsylvania's, Wisconsin's, Illinois, that cost of living. And again, housing, crucial. Every time I talk to my friends, I have a ton of friends in the Midwest, and every time we compare what they're buying homes for or selling homes for compared to here, just night and day. Now, what are you gonna get for it as far as that cost? Well, according to, I've lived in the Midwest, I have not lived in the South, but what my folks moving here from the South enjoy is that the summers specifically are a lot more mild. While it does get warm here, it's not sweltering heat, it's not bad. And a lot of them enjoy Denver's city. They enjoy that life, and they enjoy the mountains quite a bit. So it's definitely a quality of life move for them, more than moving where obviously their dollars are gonna stretch more. For my Midwest people, it's easy, okay? One, clouds don't exist here for 6 months out of the year. So people move here for the sun when they're coming here from the Midwest. And also, again, summers, a lot more mild, no humidity. So instead of just your brutal wet cold and your brutally wet heat, you don't have that here in Denver. So when I talk to people moving here from the Midwest, the first thing out of their mouth tends to be how much they appreciate the weather and their ability to be outside. Now, if I'm talking to my West Coast people, California, Oregon, up into Washington, Seattle, San Francisco specifically, they tend, the weather might not be a huge factor for them. They may not enjoy Denver's weather. It might not mess with them as bad, but they don't enjoy the weather as much. But for them, it is an affordability factor. It is the fact that they're going to be able to come here and buy a home or, rent and live at a lower cost for the most part. I'm not saying that's a blanket statement. I'm sure there are areas, obviously, that where you can find that affordability, but a lot of these big city folks coming from the West Coast flocking to Denver for affordability and opportunity. And I get the same thing out of New England, out of your New Yorks, your Connecticut's, parts of New Hampshire, what have you. So in Washington, D.C., you get a lot of affordability. You also get people who, again, as long as they're not upset about leaving the water, that's something I should also mention. If you're leaving the coast, either west or east coast, you're leaving the water, but moving here, easier summers, not so much humidity, again, less clouds, so you're actually seeing the sun. I lived in Connecticut and New York for a while, so I know how brutal that gets. So they gain more affordability, tend to enjoy the weather a bit more, best of both worlds perhaps. And overall, I think that is the bottom line, because what Denver is to you is going to depend by and large on where you are coming from. The perspective of someone coming here from Los Angeles or Seattle or Dallas, Texas, or Jacksonville, Florida is going to be different. So overall, great conversation to be had. And this might be a great time to have it. So that number and email popping up on your screen, know that I'm always the person, answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I am your host, Jimmy Everett. That was Is Colorado Right for You? Comparing Colorado to some other states. Until I see you next time.